Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs or professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We talk with people that have walked the walk, talked the talk, been through all the things that we experience as small business owners, and have come out the other side more knowledgeable, more skills, willing to share those things with us so that we can run our businesses more effectively. Robin, thank you for being here again.
Absolutely.
I think this is appearance for number 2 for you on Burn the Ship, right?
Yes, sir.
With a little bit of different conversation today, but to start it off, I want to say that I'm excited for you. From the outside looking in, and I could be completely wrong about this, but you're just in a completely different place in your life than where you were when I met you,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Putting yourself out there in a different way, really kind of all in on influencing people in a positive direction and giving them information they need to make their lives easier, which I am all for. You accumulated a bunch of knowledge that was very specific to the business world,
Yes.
and a tremendous amount of relationships here locally. And now you're kind of using those to reinvest in a new thing, which I think is really, really cool, and I'm excited for you. So
Thanks, Bailey.
run us through your story again. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us kind of how that progressed into the author space and really what your goal is.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate that, and that lead-in's great. So yeah, we're here today because I'm having a big event on May 1st. We're doing a second edition of the book that I wrote that was released in November of 23, but I never did a big signing event. I never did a, hey, here it is. So I sold all the copies that I had printed, which ChatGPT says that makes me a bestseller. I don't buy that until the New York Times or the Rolling Stones says I'm a bestseller. I'm not going to put the moniker on it. But I did sell all the printed copies that I had, which was 350 or something. And Amazon sold a few copies last year. But I had to reprint more for this event. And I thought, well, let me update it. Let me add some more chapters. Let me give some more information, some more content to make it more valuable. And everybody that bought the first edition is going to get a PDF of the second one. So don't worry if you bought the first edition. I'm going to catch you up. But, you know, when we talked last time, I was running a computer business in Dallas, and I still own that business, but my oldest son is now running it. And my wife is working at corporate, which gives me the opportunity to do what I do, right? But she was going to work for a couple more years, and we've been planning on working our way to Europe for a few years. Like, we really want to go travel around Europe for a few years and really enjoy it while we're still mobile and still healthy enough to get out and do it, cognizant enough to enjoy it. And she came home after the holiday break. She went back to work that first Monday. She came home and she said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. So what that did for me was it upped my timeline a couple years. Sure. And so now we're trying to figure out how that's going to happen. But in the interim, about 2 years ago, I really started pushing on how can I get this idea of using Google's free products and services in front of more business owners. Because we have built, you know, our business is well over 6 figures, working our way to 7, in one little tiny 1,000 square foot computer store,
Right.
being run by 20 somethings. So if you can imagine, technology is always the bane of any young person's existence when they're talking to older folks. But we've got 600 and something 5-star reviews with 20 somethings running a little tiny computer store.
Sure.
So I saw that I was able to leverage that and stay at the top of Google. We're always organically at the top, and your listeners can Google computers in Dallas, Georgia right now, and they could tell us what the name of the company is because it's that solid.
Right.
And I said, okay, how do I do that? So I started teaching and talking at chambers and getting in front of more and more audiences. But the problem was they were just limited groups. There was not so what do? You write the book, right? So the entire purpose of writing the book was to get in front of more people, give an entry price that was cheap enough for most business owners to say, I can invest $30 in my business. And I set it up in a way that if you read my book and do what I say to do, you pretty much can get what I teach for $5,000, right? If you do it right and follow it. But most people won't because, you know, $30 isn't enough pain to make them go and do it.
Sure.
So we started coaching and teaching and speaking. And that book, I want to tell you, Bailey, has changed the perspective of the community. Now, not in Paulding County. I just had a situation this morning where this lady's in business and her son's running part of the business, and they used to be my next door neighbors. And so I spoke to their marketing person last week, and I told her what I charged for my training. And when I talked to the mother this morning, she said, yeah, she told me you charge $5,000. And I thought, oh, that Rob, he's such a joker. And I looked at her and I said, no, that's what I charge. And she looked at me and I said, and that's why I don't try and sell it in Paulding County.
Right.
Because You know, there was this historical figure, I think his name was Jesus, and in his hometown, he couldn't heal anybody because everybody knew he was just Mary and Joseph's boy. But everywhere else he went, blind people are getting healed, crippled people are walking. It's like he was a rock star. And it's the perspective of people that know you too well that won't give you the benefit of, wow, maybe you are that person. So I've started marketing internationally all over the country and outside of the Paulding County area, change the game. You know, and once you start 10xing your value and you start marketing that to people that see that value, it blows you away very quickly that I'm just not in front of the right people. So we're moving our business more towards Atlanta, getting into the Smyrna market, getting into the Kennesaw market, getting into, you know, Sandy Springs and Buckhead, and places where I walk in the door and I'm a published author and a rock star, and they think this guy's worth that. So getting into it was specifically to help more business owners. But what it did is it made me the authority. It made me the subject matter expert. Now, you can say all day long, I've been doing this for 20 years. But when you walk in with a hardcover book with your name on the front of it, and they go, wow, this is a professional, you know, this was done right. That changes people's perspective. And so, does. Again, we were talking earlier about the vanity of being in marketing and networking and stuff. And it's not for me that I wanted to do this. My wife and I are retiring to Portugal this year. I'm 60 years old and I'm done. I'm going to go ride off into the sunset, maybe do a couple trainings a month, and that's it. We're going to go have fun. But I want to help the other business owners that are just getting blindsided by marketing companies, not necessarily intentionally, but that's all the marketing companies know. And so that's what they do. And when you start seeing all the pieces that aren't being taken care of, it frustrates me that marketing companies don't focus on the systemic issue. They just focus on the one niche they know. So I said, I got to get in there and start helping these businesses. I have a lady last week, her above the fold on her landing page of her website said nothing about what they do. I mean, literally, it was, and they're paying $1,600 a month for SEO. Well, that SEO company should have help them out with their website, making their Google page making sure don't just take my money
to the wrong ad.
Right. So so it really frustrated me, and that was the whole purpose of getting the book out there, was to say, hey, this isn't as difficult as you think it is. It's not brain science. It's not rocket science. Not brain. You can do this. And so I took the steps. I made them really simple, actionable. Put these things here, do these things there, and you will see the needle moving on the number of interactions you're getting with your Google page. So that's what started the whole process to get me there.
I think that we hear this a lot because we're asking people what's difficult about small business, right? And really this, and I tell people when they come and do the podcast, like when you look at these 500 episodes of Burn the Ship, it's like an encyclopedia. Like, it's different editions of people giving you the number one experience that comes to their mind in different industries. And I would say we hear a lot of hiring. We hear a lot of like picking the right clients. We hear a ton of, I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to sell. I was really, really good at my job and I didn't know how to acquire clients. That's the biggest pain that we hear from people most often. And I would say it's the number one thing that puts people out of business. So there's a real need for exactly what you're talking about. Not that that's probably shocking to anyone that has actually been in the business world or realizes you're a salesperson once you start your company. The interesting thing to me is that you put it out there in the format that you put it out there, right? Because I think that you were super active during COVID. Right?
Absolutely. We couldn't stop. We never lost money. We didn't get any of that ERC money.
Me too.
We didn't lose a dime the entire period of COVID. So they were sorry.
During COVID, the amount of coaches.
Oh my gosh. They just came up everywhere. It was horrible.
So to people taking their experiences and trying to exchange time for money to teach you something based on their experiences, right? And call themselves coach, right? Without a real understanding of each specific industry, right? Like they want to charge you $2,500 a month for a handful of phone calls in an hour, and you know that the dangerous thing that combines with that to me is that as a business owner, you may not know what this means, but you know that you have to spend some
Right.
money
Right.
on marketing.
And that's
right?
where it really got sticky for me.
Yeah, you know you have some to spend some money on marketing, but you don't exactly know where to spend that money. You don't know what you're spending it on, and you don't know who you're giving it to or what those people
Or
say.
what the results you're going to get are, right?
And then you see a lot of people marketing to you. Like the interesting thing to me is that people market to me for let me drive ads to your website via cold emails. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or via LinkedIn InMail.
Right.
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 And I'm like, dude, your own. Are you driving people to your own website?
And that's exactly where I go. Every time I see a marketing company, and then I go and I look, and their website's horrible, and
Yeah.
they have a Gmail email
And it's
address,
hard to
and you're like,
find.
what are you doing?
And then the thing that is so good about your book, and I read your book. The thing that I thought that was very interesting about your book is that it's the opposite lineage for a lot of those people, right? Because a lot of those people they have a job or they own a company or whatever, and then they call themselves coach and they try to acquire these couple $1,000s a month clients, right? I think that the way that you did it, which is what was interesting to me, is the more effective route if you want speaking and training, and if you're actually good enough at what you do to do those things, is publishing content that makes you an authority in your space, right?
100%.
And putting what you're saying on paper so that people can say, oh, this is exactly what you said. I can read it 5 times and understand it. Now, if I want to go hear you say it live, or I want to hear what you have to add to it, or whatever that is,
Sure.
I understand the value that that's going to have to me, right? A conference is going to pay you $25,000 to go be a keynote speaker.
Right.
Why? Because people understand what you've already said, not because people are interested in hearing what you have to say for the first time.
Right.
So for people out there that are interested in that coaching space, speaking space, author space, you have to get your ideas out widely enough to where people understand your position before they talk to you in order to be engaged with by these speaking opportunities. So how does that was that kind of what your mindset was, building the book and then working backwards?
Exactly.
Yeah, establishing the authority and then turning that into the ability to influence people?
Right. So when I started writing the book, I immediately went out and tried to create a Google business page for your Google guru.
Sure.
Right? And as soon as I clicked verify, Google said, no, suspended, because there was nothing out there that said that's who I was. So even Google's algorithm knew I was bullshitting.
Sure.
Right. So then I started doing the hard work. I started changing all the socials, changing all the handles, putting out there that I'm a keynote speaker, putting out there that I'm a coach, putting out there that I'm your Google guru, and add my middle initial to the name when you Google it, because Dr. Robin Stern owns robinstern.com,
Yeah.
and I can't work my way into that. But if you put Robin C. Stern, everything's me. So I think initially I did try and just say, hey, come and use me because I got gray hair now, right?
Sure.
I got the wrinkles. I've done the time. But in the press release you're looking at, I give a little taste of that. When I was 10 years old, I was running up to the Handyway store every morning before the bus stop and buying $5, $10 worth of candy. And then I'd go to school and I'd hustle it to all my buddies for double the profit. I was making 100% profit every day. And then it turned into other things when I was in high school. We won't discuss those. And but when I realized that I've been an entrepreneur for like 50 years, that gave me some authority to say that this is what I do. And then honing that through my sign company, I still own a sign company I've had for almost 40 years now, that made me want to find the best possible way for my clients to spend their dollar to get traffic in the door. Because that was my job. They were trusting me to bring traffic in their door. They didn't know. So I get a lady in a strip mall right behind a big, McDonald's sign that's 80 feet in the air, and she's wanting to put $3,000 into a sign where she's blending into 50 other stores. And I say, no, I won't do that for you. Let's spend $2,000 on pushing the traffic in, and then just tell people you're behind the 80-foot tall McDonald's sign.
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel, right? There's no sense in doing that. So I learned over those years with the sign company what really worked for different industries and different locations, and I honed it a lot with that.
Sure.
But then opening our store about 7 years ago, now I'm doing it for myself. Now I'm driving the traffic to my business,
Right.
and that's where I really just fine tuned all of it.
No,
right?
and you're using the same. You're not like you said, reinventing the wheel. You're using the same exact logic that you've used for other people and applying it to yourself. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you're taking your own medicine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then you can turn around and say, Google computers in Dallas, Georgia, or laptop repair in Dallas, Georgia, or broken screen computer in Dallas, Georgia. And you tell me the name of my business.
Right.
Because that's what we've done. We've positioned ourselves at the top for every keyword search that could possibly. And again, I don't have any sort of schooling for doing Google ads. I don't even promote Google ads. I'm only promoting the free stuff. The name of my book is Using Google's Free Shit.
Right.
Right? So it would be crazy of me to promote a paid item in
Right.
that book. But now that we've seen the results, we know what works, we've tried and failed and tried and succeeded, and you throw away the stuff that doesn't work and you add in the stuff that does, that's what gave me this background now to be able to say, okay, I can see exactly how I have to walk somebody from, are you even ready to try and scale your business? Because let's face it, a lot of people start in business and they just want a paycheck.
Sure.
They just don't want to work for somebody else.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's a book out there by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth.
Oh, yeah.
And The E-Myth was the book that changed it for me,
Yeah, it's
where
a
I
good
said,
book,
I'm
too.
getting out of my computer company so I can do what I want to do and run and work on it, not in it.
Right.
So Michael Gerber is very plain about that. It's a great book. I highly suggest any entrepreneur that's getting started out read that, because
Yep.
it will direct you in ways that you never even thought of. And that got me out of the computer store. So then I said, so how can I now change this? And that's when, let's write the book, let's outline it, let's look at the step by step, after it's, are you ready for this? Like, can you really do this?
Right.
And I give actionable things like, hey, sometimes you might have to eat ramen and bread for the next 6 months because you're not going to be able to afford squat while you're
Right.
building your business, right? Sometimes you might have to tell your friends, I got to go home because I got to work until 2 o'clock in the morning. I was at the West Cobb after hours at Taco Mac last week, and about 7:30 as we were winding down, I smelled coffee because there's a restaurant there too.
Right.
And I asked the server, I was like, hey, give me a cup of that coffee. And he's like, I don't even think that's coffee. I think it's the Sterno. And then, of course, he came back with a cup 2 minutes later. He's like,
Yeah.
damn, you got a good nose.
Yeah.
But everybody looked at me like, you're drinking coffee at 7:30 at night? And I said, I got about 2 hours worth of video editing I have to do tonight when I get home.
Right.
I turned 60 years old in December, So for me to go home at 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning editing video. I got into it. I was loving it. But that's the kind of commitment at the beginning that you have to be ready to put in. And after we go through that chapter, now it's okay. How do you work with Google? Well, you got to have a Gmail address or a Google account. So there's a whole chapter about that. So I walk people very, very specifically. I don't expect you to know anything
Right.
when you come to me and say, help me with my online marketing. You don't have to know anything. I will walk you through step by step everything you need to do. So once the book's out there and people get a hold of it, they hear me a couple times, and then they say, oh, I want to work with that guy. So you have to build your own authenticity, and then your raving fans will promote
Right.
you after that, right?
Sure.
So the raving fans come on board. Those are the people that will support you in whatever you do. They will tell the world about what you do. And I have a buttload of them. I mean,
Sure.
I have a bunch of people who I've built really strong relationships. You're one of them, right? That will pretty much go out and help me support and promote anything I choose to do in the business world. And that's why we're sitting here today, because the first person I thought of when I said, hey, I'm doing this event, said, I know guys that are doing super high quality podcasts, and they're in the business world, so people are listening to it. So I got to go talk to Bailey and Jay and see what we can do over there. And then you were so gracious to say, I'm open Friday, come on.
Yeah,
So
anytime.
thank you very much.
No, yeah, and I appreciate your invitation to network this morning. I look forward to attending that event in the future. Tell me this. I think that on the note of the E-Myth, right, I think what a lot of people don't understand is that there's exponential kinetic energy built by combining your marketing efforts. And what I mean by combining is that your businesses weren't solely built off of your acumen with Google. There's a combination of things. There's a recipe to how you were spending your 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day working that made this work for you. networking being one of those things. And I think that when you combine some of these things in that recipe, you get so much more velocity than you would, with any of these things in a silo. So from your perspective, from the Google Guru, what is that recipe? As you're talking to somebody that is, 6 months away from starting their business or in that first year or two, and they want to know, what is the recipe that I need to begin putting together for myself from a sales perspective to do this effectively?
Okay, so great question. I think that there's a different combination for everybody.
Sure.
Recipes are just suggestions of how to put things together. Everybody adapts recipes a little bit to themselves.
Sure.
I was making these, I saw a TikTok for applesauce, PB powder, and chocolate to make little chocolate protein clusters. And I made them the way they said to make them the first time. And I was like, that was okay, but it could use some coconut in it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit of that Maldron salt, the big flaky salt on them while the chocolate's drying. And now I've come up with one that's amazing. And it started with a 3-item recipe. So I think that in this marketing space, this building the momentum for your business, this getting out there and making sure you're being found, it's multi-pronged, right?
Sure.
You have this online space where you have to start being that person, right? You can't have a website that says you do pressure washing and go out and say, I want to start landscaping, because you're confusing and muddying the message, right? So I actually spoke at East Cobb Business Association last year, and I was trying to encourage the people in the audience to think about scaling their businesses. And so I was talking about using Gemini, which is a Google product like ChatGPT, to create content for social media, right? You can ask it for your perfect avatar, give it the arguments that perfect avatar would have against using your business. Now give me the answers to those arguments. Now create social media posts for me. That was the whole intent of the speech.
Sure.
But once you have that, how do you effectively get that out there so that you're not spending hours and hours of your day posting? Well, I have a customer relationship management system that I use. I can schedule all of my social media posts on all of my platforms. So I brought that up, but at the end of the speech, they had a few people ask questions, and one of the guys was, what do you do? Like, I don't get what you do. So even I was, with 40 years experience, muddying the water by trying to be more helpful. So my long-winded answer to your question is, you try everything and then you reassess, throw out the things that didn't work, do more of the things that do work, and then wash, rinse, and repeat. There's no shortcut to putting in the time, because let's face it, a guy that is 20 years old that says, I can teach you about romance, over a guy that's 80 years old who's been married for 45 years, there's a definite difference in how you perceive what their answers are going to be.
Sure.
So having a little bit of the gray hair and having the time in the trenches and doing it for my own business has really created that momentum that I was hoping to get. And it took me 2 years from the time I started writing the book until people actually saw me as that guy. But now Google even sees me as that guy, right? There's no one real way to answer the question, but getting your socials all aligned, finding a hashtag that's you only, and then putting it everywhere, like Frank's Hot Sauce. You put that on everything, right? And then being social. There's another piece that people miss on social media all the time. The algorithms do not want to put you in front of people if you're not engaging with other people.
Right.
So I learned years ago, did you know that Instagram isn't about you looking at and posting your stuff and then looking at other people's stuff? You're supposed to comment, like, and share their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? The only way you build any sort of relationship or traction on Instagram is you have to go in and engage with other people's stuff. And then when you say, I want to put my stuff out there, the algorithm goes, oh, you're such a giver. I'm going to put you in front of tens of thousands of people instead of hundreds of people. So there's a big piece of the puzzle, was learning to engage on the social media prior to trying to post. 2 weeks ago, I kind of got wind of that again, and somebody was like, if you're not sharing other people's stuff and commenting, the algorithm's, cutting you down.
Sure.
So now if I decide to go on LinkedIn, I'm going to comment, like, share, and repost 10 or 12 different things. And where I was getting 68 impressions a week before, now I'm well over 250 impressions a week.
Right.
So people are seeing it, they're engaging with it now because I'm getting in front of more people.
Right.
So that's, one of those other little things. The other thing is be consistent across all platforms. again, the pressure washer, landscape guy, right? If you are not promoting the one thing you do primarily in front of everybody, then you're confusing your customers, you're confusing the algorithm. And we had a guy at the meeting this morning. He's got a pressure washing company shirt or something. He said he was a videographer. It's like everything you're wearing says you work for a pressure washing company. And you're sitting here in this meeting telling me you do videography. I couldn't make the connection. It's the same exact thing with the algorithm. Be consistent, show them who you are, consistently post, and give the ammunition necessary to make you number one.
Absolutely.
Because the algorithm wants to make the best number one. I mean, it wants to. So you have to be the most accurate, the most updated, the most consistently engaging, right? And suddenly you'll be at the top of the search results.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, your message is refreshing compared to what you typically hear from marketing agencies. And the reason is because that there are ways that you can bring value to other people while also bringing value to yourself. I mean, that's really in all what I think that marketing should be about, is portraying a message to someone that here is this service or product that I have that brings value to you. In exchange, I want this amount of money, right? Is that not at the base root form what marketing is, especially from a digital presence?
Yeah.
And so all of these other small things that you add to the puzzle with social media interaction or content creation, they serve you as well, right? And they serve other
100%.
people, and they make that entire ecosystem of online marketing viable. Networking is irreplaceable. Building relationships with people in your community is absolutely irreplaceable.
100%.
But I think that when you start realizing that if you put some of this consistent energy across all of those prongs, you're going to move the needle from a Google perspective, certainly, and you're going to see an impact on your business every day. Like you will be in 365 days from now, you'll be unrecognizable if you're in the first 6 months and you do these simple things that are in the book every day.
Correct.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it too, where I was the computer guy and I was the sign guy. And like you said, you see me as a completely different person now. I am an author and I am a speaker. And that's from me consistently working those angles through the algorithm, through my networking, through all of my online presence, and owning the domain that is my name and getting the domain that is the name of the company, right? Did y'all know that .guru is a thing? Like, you don't have to have a .com. So I couldn't get yourgoogleguru.com, but I got yourgoogle.guru, which even looks better to me because it says my name, Your Google Guru. It's perfect. But Bailey, honestly, to kind of continue that conversation with the social media thing, I also founded a nonprofit in 2016, and that nonprofit is completely aligned with who I am, of serving the community and giving back. It's called Be Better, Not Bitter, but that was a best friend's name that he came up with it. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2016, which is what prompted me to start the nonprofit in his name. But I don't align with that name as much as I do technology. So we created a brand under the nonprofit, and we called it March for Tech, right? We're taking technology into places where it's not available, to underserved communities, to, inside Africa and Togo and Nigeria and our community of Dallas, Georgia itself. We do a computer giveaway every year through the schools where we get the teachers to nominate kids that they know need technology. So it's not just self-serving to a family going, we're going to get a free computer. These are people that actually need it, and the teachers are the ones nominating the kids for it. So in the community now, here I am giving back. To the algorithm, here I am giving back. As a giver, the algorithm wants to promote you, right? So it wasn't self-serving to do it, but it has served me, right? So that's another piece of it where are you genuinely out to help people?
Right.
Or are you genuinely just, and y'all seen it, you go to networking events and you just got the card shovers and the food eaters.
Sure.
Right? They're just there to hit the buffet, shove a bunch of cards in people's hands, and they're gone an hour in. And I see it every time I go to one of these places. I was sitting there with everybody at 8:30 when the event ended at 7:30.
Right.
We were still sitting there brainstorming and creative, ideas for each other and talking about Sean with Money Pages. We're going to run some ads for the event in Money Pages. And by the time that conversation was done, we have a promotion now where he's going to come on board as one of the sponsors of the event. Right. We're working with Justin Arndt, and he's going to connect us to Zach Knight with ATL Vets because Justin supports ATL Vets a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to make them the nonprofit that we're supporting with any of the proceeds of this event. Right. So bringing in all the pieces of it. I posted last week on social that I made a comment on Google's LinkedIn page. They had a video of a guy talking about how to get hired at Google. And he was talking about the basic soft skills that we're lacking so bad these days.
Right.
And I just commented, thank you, all capital letters, bunch of exclamation points. Nobody talks about this anymore. Thank you for bringing this up. Thank you for making a point of this. Google liked my comment.
Really?
Now, there's a couple pieces of that. Number one, I'm your Google guru. And I use their logo in my logo. Their G is in the head of my little guru guy. When Google likes your comment, and I'm using the hashtag on the comment, hashtag your Google guru,
right?
They like my comment. 35,770,000 followers on LinkedIn, and they liked my comment.
Right.
So I made a post about that. And I tagged Google in the post, and I put that on Facebook. When you're running with big dogs like that, that's what the algorithm sees. Sure. And the algorithm considers you a big dog too.
Sure.
So engaging and taking advantage of every free opportunity you have to put it out there. That's just one more little tip that I bring to the table when I'm working with my clients, right?
Sure.
So I will say that that it is, if you go to Vegas, there's always a table with like a $10,000 ante, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you see those people sitting there and you think, these are the big, rich hitters. Man, they got it. They're making it. I don't care how they got the money to sit at that table. The perception is they're loaded.
Right.
One guy could have just put it on his credit card to get the ante because he's about to lose his house and he needs to win.
Right.
But you don't know that. You see big
roller
player, right? Same thing Google sees with you when you're getting Google to comment and like your comments and your shares. So finding those relationships, building those relationships. There's a woman named Forbes Riley, and she used to do all of the infomercials for all the sporting equipment back in the late 80s. She has sold $2.5 billion worth of stuff, right? She can pitch you right now, pick this coffee cup up and sell you this coffee cup, and you'll want 10 of them when she gets done talking to you. I paid for her sales training last year, if you can imagine. As good as I am at sales, as good as I am at, and comfortable as I am at speaking, I paid her a lot of money to take a 3-week sales training course with her. And I tripled my sales in the next week. Because even at 60, there's things I didn't know. There's things that I can learn. So that's another little piece of advice I'll give is invest in yourself. Don't ever think you have it all, and make room for marketing and training and personal development, because you have to be the best you can be for people to want to engage with you.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's a big piece of it as well, is your brand connected to a much larger brand. It just makes sense,
sure.
right? If I have the ability to do that, then let's do that. So again, using
because you're
Google,
not competing over the same real estate.
Oh no,
you might think you are.
No, absolutely not. And Google's looking at me as their ambassador now.
Absolutely.
They see me and they're like, look, my phone lit up when I said their name a couple times. They see me as a benefit to them. I'm promoting their process. I haven't gotten any calls from attorneys. So obviously, they must think I'm okay.
Sure.
I'm actually trying to get them to sponsor the event. So, hey, Google, if you're listening to this, I'm looking for about $20,000 to sponsor the event. We're going to give most of it to ATL Vets. So,
well, tell us that's a perfect lead in. How do we support you? What are things coming up? Tell us the date of your event. We'll push this super hard locally. Try to help you get some people there. So.
Well, here's the deal. It's only a venue that holds 350 people. And we're going to do a VIP upsell because we want to get people there that really want to learn this stuff. It's going to be a book signing. It's going to be me speaking and me teaching a little bit, telling where I come from and why I do what I do. But honestly, I'll be completely straightforward. It's somewhat self-serving.
Sure.
Because I paid a very expensive book coach to help me make my book a New York Times bestseller, right? Or a Rolling Stones bestseller. Because I would like to be able to say I'm a Rolling Stones magazine bestseller, right?
That would be incredible.
That would be a good notch on my wall. But in that, he doesn't just teach you how to write the book. He teaches you the whole process of becoming a highly sought-after speaker. And homework assignment number 6 is your book launch party, right? So I'm just walking through the steps so that we can create the video that's going to go out to all the event planners and all the meeting planners to get me jobs on stage, right? So we're going to do it to really entertain and bring value to the people in the room, raise money for ATL Vets, and get me some great video that I can, use to send out. So the event will be on May 1st. It's going to be at the Governor's Gun Club in Kennesaw, which, again, part of the book coach, May 1st is a Thursday night. There's no school on break on May 1st. It was very, very specific that day, that time. Everybody coming to the event will get, a swag bag with some cool stuff in it, some light appetizers. We'll do a cash bar because the book coach says don't pay for other people's alcohol. But Governor's Gun Club is going to have some good deals for us. And then the VIP upsell will have great you go to the Grammys or the Emmys or whatever, the celebrities all get these cool swag bags with thousands of dollars worth of stuff in it. So we're going to have a bottle of Justin's Our Local Heroes bourbon, a couple cigars, and a day at Governor's Gun Club for the guy and his buddy. And then the wife can have a couple bottles of wine and lunch and a spa day for her and a girlfriend. So that's the basis of the swag bag. And then everything else will be whatever other vendors come on board, sponsors want to put in there, whatever. Maybe the MP group wants to get in on it. So so we'll talk about that as well with Jay and see if we can't leverage a little bit of funds out of him.
Yeah, we might help you sponsor it. I'll be honest, but we have absolutely no sexy swag. It is so hard in the credit card processing world to sexy it up.
Yeah.
But we'll try.
Okay, I appreciate
you want an
that.
MP Group trucker hat? We'll throw one
there
in there.
There it is. All right, I love that.
Well, cool. I'm excited for your event. We'll be there. We'll help. Talk to Jay.
Well,
Jay
you know what?
loves to
I
help,
went a little further. So part of what muddied the water with me at that event in East Cobb was I was showing them the CRM system, and not to sell it here with this discussion, but it has an it has an affiliate manager built in. So I've created this affiliate system now where anybody you invite, if they sign up through your affiliate link, you're going to get 20% of it, right? So real simple, you fill out a form, and that's affiliates.yourgoogle.guru. Fill out the form, you're going to get your link and your login to check your earnings. It's all automated. It won't miss a dime. It's not like I have to scratch it down on a piece of paper and remember it. It'll all be there. And if you sell any tickets and you got some money coming, we'll either take that and trade for you being at the event or having an expo table at the event or whatever you want to do, or we'll pay you cash at the end of the event, no problem. So we're maximizing.
What's the ticket? The cost.
The general admission is going to be $75. That'll get you, snacks and entrance and a book, a hat, a T-shirt, and then the VIP couple pass is $500.
Okay. So
$100 right off the top of that goes to ATL Vets, plus whatever profit is made from the event. A percentage of that is going to ATL Vets too. We're hoping to raise $10,000 for ATL Vets at least. That's the minimum we're trying to raise. If we can get Google involved, we'll give everything we make to ATL Vets because Google will help pay for pretty much the whole thing. So yeah, it's definitely an investment, but certainly it's going to be a 3-hour event. VIPs are going to get an hour with me for a private book signing and photo ops and maybe a drink. Get Justin to bring in some of his bourbon for a taste. But I'm really excited because Zach and ATL Vets are a very large organization, and he's not just having lunches on Tuesday. He's up in Washington. He's in Atlanta. He's advocating for veterans. He's making a difference. He's really helping corporations understand how to bring veterans back into the fold, get them back into the work field. So he's moving the needle a lot.
Absolutely.
So to be able to support him, but I really think that he's probably, when it goes out to his group, his following, I don't think there's going to be general anything. I think they're all going to get sold because they're going to see how much it's going to raise for ATL Vets, and all his people are going to want to be the VIPs and buy those tickets up. So get your tickets fast. It's events.yourgoogle.guru. If you want to go on now, it's already up and live. People can go and purchase the tickets. They're going to get an email with their ticket information. It'll be all digital. Show up at the door. Give us the code. Good to go.
Well, I'm excited for you, my friend.
Thank you, man.
I'm excited for you. And I guess you've got You've got quite the runway ahead of you here. You're moving as quickly as you can, huh?
Yeah, so we decided to set that up and get it done. Again, part of the book coach system is 90 days in advance that press release has to go out, and I'm 6 days behind. So it just got finished last night, and I'm waiting for the approval from the coach. And as soon as he says that, I think it's on Patch.com. I just put it on Eventbrite, and I also have it on where else did I put it? Oh, the Paulding Chambers website. Again, who knew that you can advertise your events on your local chamber website, right? Well, Paulding County's chamber website gets 2 million plus hits a year.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you're a business owner in Paulding County or even the surrounding counties, for $375 a year, you can post as many events and hot deals and whatever you want on their website.
Yeah.
Well, what's the value of that on a 2 million hit plus or per year website, right? So, so again, first thing I did when I went to there, put on the event, put on the pictures, links to the ticket and everything else, and I saw the VP of Operations this morning, and she said, "Oh yeah, I saw that. It's already posted live. Thanks for putting it on there." So, and part of the book coach homework assignment is you send that thing out to everybody with the event information, because press outlets don't really care about your book.
Right.
They don't care about you. They want to promote events.
Sure.
They need news. They need stuff to talk about, right? So magazines, newspapers, every single radio outlet, they need events. So you put the stuff out there and you tell them the information. And now for the next 3 months, I'll be on every freaking website and landing page, and possibly WESH will say, or WSB will say, "Hey, we want to have you come in and do a Saturday morning thing or a Sunday morning thing," and they don't charge for that.
Right.
You're getting promotion for nothing.
Right.
So I guess really the whole genesis of this whole process is I hate paying for marketing that I don't know what the results are.
Sure.
That's what started me using Google. That's what started me down the path of learning where are all the free avenues to promote my business, and then comparing what am I getting different if I pay tens of thousands of dollars as opposed to what I'm paying now.
Right.
Right. So I will not deny to you, there's a thing called guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
And that is old school, what has consistently worked. You consistently do that, and you will consistently get good results.
Yeah.
So just do what you know has always worked. The back windows of all my cars have a special that we ran over the holidays, still on there, for hanging your TV. We have 200 of our reviews or 5-star reviews for TV hangings. We go into your home or your business, we hang your big ass TVs on the wall. Well, I decided this year to see how many TVs we could hang. So in November, we put it on all our socials, we put it on our cars, we put little snipe signs out, 5-star Google rated TV hanging and a phone number, period. We did like 5 times the TVs this holiday season that we did last year.
Right.
And it cost me $50, $100 maybe to put that all out there. I had to go out to the intersections and tap the little signs in on Sunday mornings before traffic got bad, but it really works. So the idea of trying to chase an algorithm that's constantly changing, as opposed to just doing consistently what has always made the algorithm see you, being active, getting reviews, posting and commenting on people's stuff, doing the polite things that Miss Manners would say to do.
Right.
Those things are always going to get the algorithm's attention, and you're always going to rise to the top when you're the one helping and providing good information to other business owners and ultimately Google's customer. Because here's a piece of the first thing in my book that I teach is when you're working on your Google page, you're not Google's customer.
Right.
You're their product, right? So you have to be the freshest product, the most updated, the most accurate. They don't want people to come to your store and Google says you're open and you're not.
Right.
But they make it real easy for a business owner to say, "Hey, tomorrow we're not going to be open," right? And post it. Post it on your socials. Post an update on Google. Change the hours on Google for the one day. Make sure that Google knows what's going on with you, and their algorithm wants to put you at the top of the search results.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's just basic courtesy. And when you start working in that, thinking about the other business or the customers that are going to come and try and find you, hell, if I got to leave my store early on today, I'm putting it on Google. So if somebody searches for me, they say, "Oh, closed today, opens at 8 a.m." I do not want them seeing open till 6 and they show up at 4:30 and I'm not there.
Right.
Right. So it's courtesy. It's thinking about others. And it's the same way with the marketing.
Absolutely.
You can't just go in there, be out for yourself, trying to, sell your product or service at all costs. You have got to serve the people around you and then watch how the algorithm wants to promote you.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And I appreciate the perspective that you have of bringing so much value to people. When I started in my industry, learning how to be a salesperson, and especially what we experienced during COVID with everybody trying to grasp at what they could because of so much uncertainty, it really taught me the value of being so focused on bringing value to people and solving their problems aside from promoting my own product. Right. And it turned into this. So a little bit of that inspiration, it comes from 1,000 different experiences, and then seeing what was happening during COVID, and then trying to find a way to bring value to people. So I appreciate you bringing some value to us. I appreciate you coming to speak to us. It is self-serving for us as well. We learn, we get to promote the message, we get to talk to people and interact with some of the people that are interested in the same things. So it means a lot. Anything that we can help you with.
Well, I think it was cool that when you first started in this business, one of the first things you said was, "Hey, can we have lunch?" Like you met me and you're like, "Hey, I got to talk to that guy." And I realized you're a really smart kid, right? I'm like, "Damn, this guy saw the opportunity, saw the value, and said, 'Hey, will you give me some of your time because I need to learn from you,' right?" And so I was very, very excited about that, but even more so, I'm very excited to see where you are now, how you've taken that information and you've continued to push and you've stuck it out here. Because let's face it, Jay is not the easiest guy to work with, right? So the fact that you're still here, that's impressive, dude. Hi, Jay, I hope you hear that.
He will.
Yeah. But I really think that if we can start getting business owners to think about their business as a business and not just a hobby.
Right.
And people that have a Gmail, a Yahoo, or a Comcast, or God forbid, an AOL email address, please think about that. The world and the algorithm and people do not see you as a business if you have a Gmail address. I just talked to a business owner the other day. He's coming to me to get help with his business, and then he fought with me for 10 minutes about how a Gmail address is not a bad thing for a business. And look, I work with the Small Business Development Center at the University of Georgia, and Matt Pierce, who retired a couple of years ago, he and we tag team a lot at the chamber. They did a study in 2022, 150 businesses that came to them in desperate need, like they were going under. They came to the Small Business Development Center. They said, "How can we save our business?" Well, 300 came to them and they helped 150, but 150 closed. They shut down. They went back and they looked at the details of what caused that. Out of 150 businesses, the three commonalities that were most prevalent: they didn't have enough money to start a business, so they shouldn't even have tried. They had a credit card with 10 grand available and they said, "I'm going to start a business." They didn't have enough marketing budget, which as soon as you start running low on sales, you need to start marketing more.
Yeah.
But what they would do is when operations needed more cash, they would take it from marketing. That was the second commonality. And the third one was a non-company branded email address, using a free email address. Now, is that what caused them to fail? Who knows? But that was one of the common factors of all those businesses that failed, is they didn't think that paying $40 a year for an email address was worth it. I contend to you that is the cheapest way to make your business look professional to the world, is to have a branded domain email address, not yourcompany@gmail.com, but your name or info or hello or support at yourcompany.com, right? So if y'all are still using Gmail addresses and listening to this right now, please get a hold of me and let me show you how inexpensively you can have multiple branded email addresses for your company, because it will change your game and the perspective of not just people looking at it, which was this gentleman's argument was, "Well, my customers don't tell me there's a problem." I said, "But how many people didn't call you?"
Yeah.
Because
how many people never got the opportunity to tell you?
Why are we having this discussion that you need help building your business if you have enough business, right?
Yeah.
So he argued with me about it for all that time. But forget what the public's perception is. Gmail is not a business email address. That's why they allow you to have a Google account with your branded email address.
Right.
And their algorithm is who I care about impressing. And if you have a Gmail address and you're promoting a business, the algorithm will knock you down a couple notches. Yeah. It won't ruin you, but it will knock you down a couple notches.
I mean, you got to think about it this way. They wrote the language, right? They built the platform Like you think that you are looking at someone's Google page and evaluating their business, right?
Right.
You are only evaluating it in the format that Google gave it to you.
Right.
You're holding against, does this look like other professional Google listings that I see? Right. That is what you're comparing it to.
Yeah.
So if that's your only point of reference, and it costs you literally $100 in an hour a year.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you're comparing it against things that you're like, oh, the good, but I've seen the good ones. The good ones are Google. You've seen the good ones that are Google listings.
Right. And everybody at Google has a google.com email address, not a Gmail.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
let's
at
just
Google.
face it. They have a Google email address, which on the flip side of that, when somebody reaches out to me with like an apple.com email address,
Yeah.
I'm like, hell, they work at Apple.
Yeah.
Right? That's not, you can't have an apple.com email address if you don't work for Apple.
Right.
So when I see that, it adds validity to my perception of that person.
For
right?
sure.
So I'm just telling what
And it
I
can
know.
for you too.
Yes,
This is the
I'm
point.
just telling what I know. And if you're struggling with having to pay for email, I have a deal right now with a hosting company that you can get 100 email addresses and 100 websites, and their introductory offer is like $40 a year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's $40 a year to have branded email and a really badass website. So if anybody listening to this needs some help with that, please reach out to me because I certainly can get you involved with that. After the 4 years of introductory, it's like $100 a year. It's $8 a month, I think. So so once you're making money, invest that back in yourself. Invest in you and personal development so that the
Absolutely.
world sees you as a professional.
Well, I'm excited for where you're going, my friend. And if there's anybody listening, the contact information for you, how to get in touch with you, how to get to your event, all that'll be in the description down below. So check that out. Leave a comment. Please leave a review.
Absolutely.
For
Yeah.
Your Google Guru and I Love My Geek.
Yep. Yeah,
Great-
if you can imagine when I
great
first
people.
did the Google page and they slapped me down,
Yeah, sure.
I went and got a doing business ads. I just went to the courthouse. I filled out one piece of paper, Robin C. Stern, DBA, your Google Guru, and I built that process for the next 16 months. And then when I reapplied to Google and said, "Give me the Google page for your Google Guru," I was approved and verified. And just to toot my horn a little bit, within 3 weeks, if you Googled marketing agency in Dallas, Georgia, I was in the top 3.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm looking forward to it. We'll try to grab some content as well from the event and put some stuff out there too. So
I'm excited.
we'll be
Thanks
there.
very much, Bailey. I
Yeah,
appreciate you
anytime.
guys. I appreciate, Jay and Roderick I've known these guys for 17 years. I think the last time we talked, Jay interviewed me, and it was all about us from back in the day, right?
Sure.
We had such a great conversation about where we've come from and where we have been and how we met each other and some of the wild things we've been a part of over the years. But, and as a side note, we just closed down North Paulding Networking, which
Really?
is one of the events Jay and I first met each other at.
So no more Wednesday mornings. Huh?
They're still doing it. It's called Paulding with a Purpose.
Really?
So yeah.
Who's running that show now?
Daniel.
Oh,
Daniel
really?
with Ezra
Cool.
Risk Partners.
Cool.
Daniel Tilbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's they're working on getting back
He's
to
not
the
with
roots.
Grace Point anymore.
Oh, he changed it to Ezra.
Oh, so
He just
it's
changed the
same
name.
thing. It's just
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. If you look back biblically, Ezra was a helper.
Sure.
If you look in the Bible, the name Ezra means helper. So they changed the name to Ezra Risk Partners, so that we're your helper in risk, right? So
Yeah.
it was really good branding.
We've got an
on his
Ezra
part.
here. I think his name means idiot.
Easy. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they're trying to get back to the roots. The idea when we started it was that we would do things for the community, and we've kind of gotten away from that. So with my upcoming move to Europe, that I wouldn't be there, I kind of turned it
Sure.
over to somebody else, and this is where they're taking it.
Sure.
Now, on the flip side of that, I'm working with another gentleman to start a millionaire mastermind group.
Sure.
We're going to try and encourage, push, kick in the ass business owners that are really wanting to do something but don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And honestly,
You'd be surprised how hard it gets when you get to that comfortable mark.
right. And honestly, there's just two questions you have to ask yourself. Number one, do you admit you need help?
Yeah.
Like do you want help? Because so many of us are solopreneurs and we just think we got it all and we can't ask for help.
Right.
These people that come up to you and they say, "What do you do?" It's like, no, I don't need you to ask me that. What I need you to ask me is, what can you do for me?
Right.
Like, how can you help me? And here's what I'm dealing with. Can you do something about that?
Right.
So let's be more transparent with each other. Let's share our struggles. Let's share our needs so that the people around us can solve those problems for us. That's my new tagline is, let's get on a 15-minute call and I'll solve your biggest problem.
Right.
Because I got 40 years of business experience, and if I can't solve it, well, then you might have a bigger problem than you think.
Right.
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 So.
For sure.
Well, Bailey, thank you so much for this. I really
Yeah,
appreciate being able to come in here and just, yap my lips and promote my event. And it's really cool to see you and where you're going with it, and meet Branson, the new studio engineer here. Branson, he's a man. Yeah. So looking forward to getting to know him a little better as well.
Cool. Anything we can do for you, let me know.
Thanks,
and you
Bailey.
guys as well. Cool. Burn the ship.